Welcome to UK Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yukai Kechidori.
Hello and welcome to another special episode on your Yokai Business Show. I'm thrilled that you have carved out some time in your busy schedule today to listen into one of our great guests. As always, we love bringing you some of the experts that are really, truly making a huge impact in our world today, in the world of business. And today is no different because my guest today has been at it for several years. In fact, has developed critical skills that are required to pursue what we're going to be talking about. In fact, we're going to be exploring the necessary critical skills needed today. And again, before we jump into the conversation, I want to encourage you to join the conversations that is going on in our community today if you're already a member of the community. And if you're not a member of the community, you want to click the link below this recording and you'll be taken directly into our podcast community. There you'll find some amazing people, amazing previous guests on the show, and also people who just love what we are talking about. Several groups going on there, and I'm always there, and my business partners are always there, and also our guests are always there. So make sure to jump into the conversation because you never know what you discover during those conversations. Now back to our guest here today. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here. Truly appreciate you sparing some time to talk to us today. Now, to get us started, could you tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your background, education, and experience in this area? And while at it, do share what has made you a success, because I know a lot of people have tried to do what you're doing here but have not had success. If you had to single out one thing that you've done consistently and has produced the tremendous result for you to develop these critical skills, that would be amazing.
Thank you for having me on your show. So my name is Jenna. I'm an author of the new spiritual fiction book, Heavenly Creatures, and the founder of The Consciousness Coach. So I kind of knew I wanted to be a writer since childhood, and I used writing to get into Phillips Exeter Academy, which is a boarding school in the United States. So at Exeter, I had a spiritual awakening, which led me down the path less traveled. In college, I led a meditation class of 100 students, which was kind of a shock for me at the time. And after working for a while and 13 years of intense spiritual study, I went to business school at Yonsei University in South Korea, where I started the first business club for international students, which was very successful with over 200 members now. But ultimately, I realized that what I really wanted to do was to write that book, going back to my childhood dream, and begin coaching people in meditation. I'd grown up in an emotionally dysfunctional home, and I developed a passion for helping others because of it. I knew from experience that the college you go to doesn't necessarily impact your happiness, but things like relationships, communication, and self-awareness do have an impact. I wrote Heavenly Creatures, which is about past lives, in a couple of months, and I began my online business, The Consciousness Coach, soon afterwards. In terms of why I think I've been successful, I think I've always been pretty authentic, which helped me to be passionate about what I'm doing. I'm one of those people who can't do something they're not interested in. And I think that's helped me to get really clear on what I like and don't like early on. So if I didn't have that clarity, I probably would be very unfulfilled right now. And secondly, something I think helped me to be successful in building communities back in college and then in grad school is my ability to connect with others. So I think my radical acceptance of myself helps me to connect with people on a real level, which can be rare in our society sometimes.
Wow, that's an incredible experience that you've had on there. Now, let's dive deep into the purpose of our conversation. In your opinion, having worked with several number of people, what is the first skill every business owner needs to develop when it comes to this area? And maybe you can talk about why this skill is important and perhaps the best way to develop these skills.
And that's a really great question. The first skill I think people need is a deep understanding of people. So if you want to get into coaching, you have to understand others. And the best way to do that is by first understanding yourself. So I'd really recommend meditation. And I know that meditation is like a buzzword these days. And I think that meditation has been severely watered down in the West because people who are not familiar with it seem to think it's a way of calming the mind or feeling relaxed. But the true use of meditation is actually to understand yourself, basically to do a self-inquiry. So if you're a business owner looking to get into coaching, I'd suggest doing some sort of self-inquiry practice, which is the practice of bringing more awareness to deeper and deeper parts of yourself. And closely related to that is the practice of learning to deeply listen to others. So if we want to understand people, we got to understand ourselves, and we also have to understand others. And the way to do that is by being fully present when we're listening to them. Basically not thinking about other things, thinking about what we're going to talk about next, but just being completely present, taking everything in about what the other person is saying. That's actually a skill, a deep listening skill.
Outstanding. I just want to talk to you, Bill, listening in the audience today, and maybe a lot of other people listening. What we've just discovered there in that critical skill, if you were to master that, I know that we're going to be talking about other skill sets here, you will see incredible difference in what you're going to do. It may be a slow start, but surely as the sun rises in the morning, you're going to see the difference. So I want to encourage you, if you're taking notes, to put a circle around it. If you are listening in the car, make a mental note to that, and find a way of making sure you implement what you're discovering here today. Let's dive deep into the second skill that you think business owners needs to develop at this stage. And maybe while we're at it, we could talk about the tools or the website or the app that makes this critical skill development a breeze. And maybe we could also explore, if anybody gets stuck in developing this skill, what can they actually do right there and there. I know I've asked 3 questions there, but it would be great if we could answer all those and really give people what actually works.
Yeah, so the second skill I'd recommend developing is marketing. I'm actually working on that right now, being on this podcast. I highly recommend the book, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, which talks about the principles behind the tactics. And other tricks to learn are social media marketing, developing content, whether that's written or verbal, newsletter marketing, and sales copywriting. It can get a little overwhelming looking at all of these resources, so I highly recommend finding a marketing program or coach. And if you don't have the funds for that, actually, I know that AI is a huge thing right now because of the release of ChatGPT. But if you go on ChatGPT, you can actually get an amazing audit of your sales funnel. So if you go on the site and you just type in, analyze my sales funnel and put in your website, it will go through and tell you where you can make improvements. So that's like marketing coach light if you don't have the funds to spend on a marketing coach. And I'd say it takes about a month or more to start seeing results from your marketing endeavors. Yeah, because it is an art form, there's no way to really just hack it. I think you just have to learn a little bit every day and then implement that. And hopefully, one day you'll get past that watershed moment when all your marketing efforts pay off.
Awesome, awesome. And now on to our third and final skill that you as a business owner, Bill, ought to develop. I know we are only covering three in this because I know you will carry on the conversation in the community to discover more things. But what we are doing here is just highlight the bigger and the broader skill sets that you certainly need to develop. Coming back to you, why is it important to develop the next skill that we are talking about right now, and maybe explore what that skill is, and really give Bill and everybody in the audience now more detail on how to do this very thing. And again, if people get stuck in this, are there any tools? Are there any websites? And is there a quicker way of developing this that you have discovered, which perhaps a lot of people haven't? Because I know experts have got a way of finding this out. Do share with everybody here so that they know what to do next.
This should actually be the first skill, but organization is a big one. So, business owners, most of them have a lot of balls to juggle. Just from our first two, there's the marketing aspect, and then there's the coaching aspect, and then there's the back end aspect. There's a lot of different things that you need to do every day, and it can get overwhelming and disorganized. So, organization is a huge skill. I think we could always be improving our organization, but something that I learned in high school from Cal Newport, actually, he had a book called How to Become a Straight A Student. I know it was my go-to book at the time. I was reading this, and he had this thing with a notepad. And on the left side, there would be a column where you would just dump all the stuff that you need to do. And on the right side, you would organize it into categories, or however you organize it. So this way, you kind of have like a catch-all area for all those miscellaneous things that you suddenly think of that you have to do, but you may forget in the next moment. So you write those down onto the left column, and then you transfer it later on into your planner or onto the right side of the column. And this has been a really important skill for me because I'm coming up with ideas all the time. Like, I'll be getting ready for bed and I'll think of like, oh, I need to change this sales copy on my page. And all of those ideas, they may not make it to paper. They may not make it to the actual implementation. So to make sure that those ideas reach implementation, we need to be really organized.
Outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Having covered all these three skill sets, I think if you master those three as a listener today, and you schedule it to do over the next 90 days, you will see a dramatic change in what you're trying to do. And you know what? Again, if you need any help with these things, you can reach out to the team in the community, or reach out to directly using the web link below to the expert right now. Let's go a little bit deeper. I just cannot resist this to explore. Are there any other major skills at this point that perhaps business owners needs to know that we haven't covered at all during this conversation?
Oh, definitely. There are tons of skills that business owners need. I think communication is probably another major skill. So, learning how to make good speeches, learning how to be more confident when you're speaking. But actually, going back to the last skill I was talking about, organization, I just want to add a little thing. So, when we're organizing, and we have those things planned, it's good to actually put it into a calendar and time box it, which means putting a time on what we're going to do when. So, for example, from 10 to 11 a.m., I'm going to work on marketing, and specifically, I'm going to work on the sales pitch and the back end sales funnel. So, the newsletter emails that I'm going to send. Like, having that very clear to do, time boxed. So having a beginning and end time, that would be a great skill to have. But going back to communication, I am currently reading this book called Steal the Show by Michael Port, which I was recommended on a business site for learning how to make better speeches. So I recommend it. It's a good book. And maybe joining a Toastmasters or having a kind of mastermind group of other business owners that you know and getting together and practicing your speech skills together. Maybe that would be helpful.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Thank you. Truly, thank you. One of the things I've discovered, even in my own journey, that has helped me and is helping a lot of people in our community, it is the tools that are available in today. Some of the tools when I started, for example, in podcasting, that have made things easier. We're not there. Right now, we've got a tremendous amount of technology, including the AI. So, in your opinion, having been in this industry for a while and helping thousands of people, are there any specific tools or websites or apps that you think will be very beneficial to the listeners today? I'd love to hear of them. If you could share that with everybody today.
Yeah, some sites that I recommend are Flick.tech or Flick.social or Planoly for managing your Instagram, and then Kajabi, Kajabi.com for creating online courses or selling your coaching, building memberships and communities. I've looked through it and I'm considering switching from Squarespace to Kajabi soon, just because the UI, user interface, is a lot better and cleaner on Kajabi, and it looks more professional. I hope those are helpful.
Awesome. I'm absolutely loving this. I just want to switch gear for a moment here, and talk about mindset. Experience and even in conversation that I have with other business owners here in the community has shown me that having a certain mindset when it comes to these things is somewhat can be a decisive factor for success or failure. In your experience as the expert in this area, what do you think is the perfect mindset business owners needs to have, or they must have, in order to develop the skill sets that we were talking about throughout our time here together?
I think the best mindset to have is encapsulated by the book Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. So I think your skills can be developed, but the attitude of learning and humility is the most important thing to have, especially as a new business owner. No matter how seasoned you become, having the attitude that there's always more to learn, the attitude of the beginner, is important to remain on a growth path. Business is changing all the time, and having this beginner's mindset is critical to not getting left behind. Your experience doesn't matter. Your age doesn't matter. We are all students of life. And, the older generation is often complaining about the younger generations. But actually, we have a lot to learn from the younger generations. There's a reason that they do things differently. It's like the next iteration of humanity, if you will. So having that humble mindset that you always have more to learn is the most important thing, I think.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. I'm sure, Abil, you're taking note of those. Again, what we'll try to do is condense these tools and put them in the blog or in the write-up right at the bottom of this recording so that you can have easy access to them, because what we are experiencing here is absolute pure gold here. And we're so grateful for that. We are certainly coming toward the end of our time here together, but I never want to close it without giving you an opportunity to share with us anything that I haven't asked you, but that you feel as the expert is an absolute must for business owners, for people to have or to know about if they are going to increase their chances of success. Is there anything that I haven't asked you today that you feel the audience needs to know about?
I think you've been pretty thorough in asking the questions, so thank you for that. Something I would like to add is that, my time in business has actually shown me that business is very similar to life. So, in business, you go through, learning a particular skill, and then you move up the ranks and you become a manager, and then you become a manager of managers. And it's the same in every other area of life. Like, no matter where you go, the kind of life lessons that you're learning are similar. And I think ultimately all of us are on this kind of spiritual journey, and we don't like to call it that. We may not like to call it that. Some people do call it that, but the word spiritual has a lot of connotations. But ultimately, for me, spirituality means learning your life lessons in a more seamless and integrated way, and in a less difficult way than you might learn if you were just, throwing stuff against the wall. So I think having a sort of spiritual practice is an important thing for business owners. And I know it sounds kind of antithetical, but I promise all of the things that I've learned through my spiritual studies have been extremely helpful in business for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for a great interview. Truly, this has been outstanding. And I never want to finish our time together here without giving you an opportunity to share with everybody how they can connect with you. And I know many of our listeners here will be sending messages in the community right now as we speak to connect with you, or even ask follow-up questions. So where can people connect with you? The easiest place, maybe it's your website or any social media. Would you share with everybody here today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Yukai. I am so grateful for this interview, and I have also, enjoyed being here. So the best ways to contact me are through Instagram or my website. So my Instagram handle is XO Jenna J. Lee, and my website is Jenna, JIMINLEE.com. And my website has my meditation schedule and my book and my coaching program on there. So I hope to see you on Instagram or my website. Thank you so much.
Awesome. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What a great conversation we've just had here. Truly life-changing information that when you apply it in your life, you will see true results. And again, if you are struggling with any of the area that we have talked about here today, go back into the community. You can ask questions. You will get support from your fellow listeners, and I'll be in there. My team will be in there. My business partners will be in there as well. And would you actually, before we jump off, share with everybody how you too are going to be helping people beyond this recording in the community? We certainly would love to do that. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave you with this. Live well, live with passion. Know that the best is truly, truly yet to come. Goodbye, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to UKAI Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.ukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.